It takes a lot more than nice hair and decent skin to get someone to fork over all their wants and needs. Unless, of course, your prospective buyer is a simp. To understand why getting your value in a healthy way is so important, we're going to do corporate story time. The names of people, places, and businesses have been redacted for safety. This is MisterMarketing. Today we're talking about market value, how to adequately and objectively define your value. As you may have noticed, there's been a reduction in videos uploaded recently. I've had to take some time off to attend to some medical issues. Thank you for your concern, but I'm okay. But once a lot of these doctor's appointments get knocked out, then a lot more content being uploaded will be reflected on the channel. So I just want to set expectations. I've had to pull back from work a little bit, and that should be back in full force here soon. We have our TikTok influencer, Abby Kata, and she is going to show us what not knowing your value in the appropriate way looks like. Here we go.
I'm going to count to 10, text my therapist, and try and have a great day.
Oh, we're already starting off here. So speaking as someone who's still a licensed medical professional, and to be clear, none of the advice I give is at all medically related. This is Mr. Marketing, not Mr. Medicine. I'm not gonna back on somebody for having insecurities or issues they gotta work through. However, emphasis on working through. And unfortunately in this video, it comes more across as fetishizing having mental health issues than actually working towards progress and achieving your goals. When the energy is kind of getting put off here, I'd say she's kind of in love with being mentally unhealthy. But we'll see what the next video shows. Here we go. So unfortunately, one of the popular ways to get validation and affirmation in today's age is to receive boundless attention. In her case, from what she's talking about, sexual attention. Essentially a bunch of thirsty dudes simping over this girl. If we're gonna step back and we're gonna look at this from a marketing perspective, you have to start asking, why is this attention and validation so important to her in the first place? Unfortunately, for a lot of people in her situation, this type of validation gives her the false impression of being her ideal self. Essentially, her ideal self being so amazing, so wonderful, so beautiful, fill in the blank. She doesn't really have to do anything. She can just be her and everyone will love her. Where this becomes a problem is something that the APA addressed in one of their podcasts. Essentially, a decline in empathy and a rise of narcissism leads to these types of behavior. Because this young woman understands that these thirsty dudes that are giving her all this attention are in one shape or another wanting something from her. And instead of contributing anything back, she's just happy to say, thank you, and then walk away with all the attention and affirmation. It really doesn't sound that bad online, but when you go offline into the real world, this is how relationships crumble. When the only thing you care about is getting, but you are not willing to give, and the basis of that is a deep depression and empathy. So my number one tip is that if you're gonna find a way to validate yourself, do it in a healthy way, something that's beneficial for you and the people around you and the people you affect. Because if you don't, and you're old and alone because no one wants to stick around you long term, life is gonna suck for you, specifically. Wow. Now don't get it twisted, the vibe of this channel is very direct and very honest, but at no point do I want it to get down to degrading someone or humiliating them. So when I say this as a marketing appraisal, not a personal dig. But let's compare all these videos from her. First video is her being in love with her mental issues. Second video shows traits that appear to be low in empathy, but high in narcissism. And a third video exhibiting that her ideal self is too good to be said no to. In terms of a prospective buyer, does this seem like a fair trade? Because being brutally honest right now, even if you are the most shallow of buyers, all you care about is what you can see on the outside. She ain't nearly attracted to be doing none of this.
First time ever anywhere the United States of America, Donald.
You adjust the microphone as you told, man.
It takes a lot more than nice hair and decent skin to get someone to fork over all their wants and needs. Unless, of course, your prospective buyer is a simp. And we all know we're lined up to get us a simp now, aren't we? To understand why getting your value in a healthy way is so important, we're gonna do corporate story time. The names of people, places, and businesses have been redacted for safety. So at a company I used to do PR for, management was playing flub games. Instead of focusing on delivering the best product and excelling in client service, it was all office politics. People stabbing each other in the back so they can feel bigger than the next person, dramatically unprofessional behavior. And one of the core tenets of this management style was personal validation, the belief that they were so high status that they couldn't be affected by their own bad decisions. And what was the result? We lost the contract. Now, thankfully, the company I worked for managed to get an extra contract and work from there, and that's great, but that did not spare them from their negative consequences. And that's the problem with an ideal self. Reality will make sure you never get to revel in your ideal self for very long. So before you make the mistake that this young lady's making, ask yourself if getting to revel in your ideal self for 15 minutes is worth all the pain and all the inconvenience it's gonna bring with it. The short answer is no. No, it's not. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Mr. Marketing. See you next time.